Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough. Let's talk about her. The woman who gives everything and gets so little in return. The one who stands tall when the world tries to break her down, yet feels unseen, unheard, unloved. Let's talk about the unloved woman. She's the woman who holds families together with hands calloused from sacrifice. She's the one who bends but never breaks, who loves with a heart so wide it could carry the weight of the world, and often does. And yet she walks through life like a shadow, her light dimmed not because she lacks it, but because others refuse to see it. But let me tell you something, her strength is unmatched. Her resilience is untouchable. You can't measure it, and you sure can't fake it. She carries burdens most of us couldn't imagine. She turns her pain into power, her heartbreak into hope. The unloved woman embodies a profound strength that often goes unnoticed. Her silence is not a sign of weakness, nor is it an indication of apathy. It is a reservoir of resilience. In a world that can be loud with opinions, demands, and judgments, she chooses silence not because she lacks words, but because her strength is in enduring. The world may view her quiet demeanor as passive, yet beneath it lies a depth of character shaped by experience, perseverance, and the quiet acceptance of life's challenges. Her silence speaks of the battle she has faced, the storm she has weathered, and the heartbreak she has endured. It reflects a courage that allows her to keep moving forward despite the pain she carries. Each tear she swallows, each hurtful word she absorbs, and each slight she overlooks adds to the unseen weight she carries daily. And yet she does not crumble. This silence is not mere endurance, it is an act of defiance. It is her way of saying that she will not let her struggles define her or dictate the course of her life. The strength of the unloved woman is also a reflection of her ability to navigate the complexities of relationships and emotions without losing her sense of self. While others may crumble under the weight of rejection or neglect, she stands firm. Her silence often serves as a shield, protecting her from further harm. It is not that she does not feel or care, but rather that she has learned to channel her pain into something constructive. She turns inward, drawing from an inner well of strength that allows her to keep giving, keep loving, and keep building even when she receives little in return. Her silence is a space where she processes her emotions and reclaims her power. In a world that often dismisses her feelings or undervalues her contributions, she learns to find validation within herself. She understands that strength does not always have to be loud or visible. Sometimes it is in the quiet moments of self-reflection, in the decision to keep going despite the odds, and in the resolve to remain true to herself, even when the world seems indifferent. Her silence is not a void, but a sanctuary where she finds solace and clarity. Through her silence, the unloved woman becomes a source of quiet inspiration for others. Her ability to endure without bitterness, to give without expectation, and to persevere without recognition is a testament to the depth of her character. She shows that strength is not always about speaking out or fighting back. Sometimes it is about enduring with dignity and grace. Her silence allows her to rise above the noise of negativity, to focus on what truly matters, and to cultivate a sense of peace within herself. In her silence, she also finds the courage to hope. Despite the pain of being unloved, she continues to believe in the possibility of love, perhaps not from others, but from herself and from life itself. She understands that love is not just something she receives, but something she embodies. Her silence is not an absence of hope, but a quiet assertion of her worth, a reminder to herself that she deserves love, even if it is not readily given to her by others. The strength of her silence lies in its transformative power. She takes the pain and neglect that others might see as a reason to give up and turns it into a source of growth. She uses her experiences to build a stronger, more resilient version of herself. Her silence becomes a canvas on which she paints a picture of survival, strength, and self-reliance. It is a reminder that even in the absence of love from others, she can create a life filled with meaning and purpose. Her silence is not without its challenges. It is a difficult path to walk, one that requires immense fortitude and self-discipline. There are moments when the weight of her experiences feels unbearable, when the silence becomes deafening, and when the desire to cry out for help is overwhelming. Yet, even in these moments, she finds a way to carry on. Her silence is not an escape, but a choice, a decision to face life's challenges head on, to embrace her reality, and to find strength in her ability to endure. The unloved woman is a figure of quiet sacrifice, offering her energy, time, and devotion to those around her without expecting or often receiving recognition in return. Her life is a story of giving, of placing others' needs before her own, and of choosing to build and nurture even when her efforts go unnoticed. This sacrifice, while noble, carries a weight that can be difficult to bear. It reflects a depth of character and an unwavering sense of responsibility, yet it also underscores the profound loneliness that can accompany being unloved. Her sacrifices are woven into the fabric of everyday life. She is the one who wakes early to prepare meals for her family, stays late to finish a project at work, or gives up her dreams so others can pursue theirs. She does this not because she is compelled to, but because she genuinely cares. Her actions are driven by a deep sense of duty and a love that persists even when it is not reciprocated. Every act of sacrifice is a testament to her strength and her unwavering commitment to the well-being of others. Despite this, she continues to give. Her sacrifices are not contingent on receiving validation or approval. They stem from a profound understanding of her role and the impact of her actions. She knows that her efforts keep the wheels turning, that her sacrifices create opportunities for others, and that her love expressed through these selfless acts has a ripple effect far beyond what she may ever see. She sacrifices not for recognition, but because she believes in the importance of what she does. The unloved woman's sacrifices often come at a personal cost. She may forgo her own dreams, ambitions, and desires to ensure the success and happiness of those she loves. She may suppress her emotions, neglect her health, or put her own needs last to prioritize the needs of others. Over time, this self-neglect can take a toll, leading to physical and emotional exhaustion, and sometimes even a crisis of identity. In giving so much to others, she may lose sight of herself, of her own worth, and of her right to be loved and cared for in return. Yet, even in the face of these challenges, she remains steadfast. Her sacrifices are a reflection of her resilience and her unyielding belief in the power of love and commitment. She understands that while her efforts may not always be recognized, they are no less meaningful. The value of her sacrifices lies not in the acknowledgement they receive, but in the difference they make. Every meal she prepares, every shoulder she offers to lean on, and every opportunity she creates for others is a manifestation of her enduring strength and generosity. Her sacrifices also highlight a larger societal issue, the tendency to overlook and undervalue the contributions of women, particularly those who give quietly and consistently. Society often takes for granted the labor and love that women provide, failing to see the sacrifices that underpin the functioning of families, communities, and workplaces. The unloved woman's story is a reminder of the need to recognize and honor these contributions, to value the individuals who give so much of themselves for the benefit of others. Even in the absence of recognition, the unloved woman finds ways to draw strength from her sacrifices. She learns to take pride in her ability to endure, to create, and to care. She finds solace in the knowledge that her efforts matter, even if they are not acknowledged. She may also find ways to reclaim parts of herself, to set boundaries, and to seek out moments of joy and self-care amidst her giving. Her sacrifices, while immense, do not define her entirely. They are just one facet of her complex and multifaceted existence. The unloved woman's sacrifices are a profound expression of love, resilience, and humanity. They are a testament to her strength and her unwavering commitment to the people and causes she cares about. While the lack of recognition she receives is a reflection of societal shortcomings, it does not diminish the value of what she offers. Her story is one of quiet heroism, a reminder of the profound impact that selfless acts of love and sacrifice can have on the world. The unloved woman reflects a deeper truth about society, acting as a mirror that exposes its many gaps and flaws. Her experience of neglect and invisibility is not solely a personal plight, but a symptom of broader societal failures. These gaps, often hidden beneath the surface of social norms and expectations, reveal how communities, relationships, and institutions undervalue certain individuals, particularly women who give selflessly without seeking the spotlight. By examining her story, we confront uncomfortable truths about the way society allocates value, love, and recognition. The unloved woman exists in a world where traditional roles often dictate her worth. For centuries, women have been assigned the role of caregivers, nurturers, and supporters, expected to sacrifice their ambitions and desires for the benefit of others. While this expectation is less overt in modern times, it persists in subtle ways, shaping the dynamics of families, workplaces, and communities. The unloved woman, who fulfills these roles without complaint, often becomes invisible within them. Her contributions are seen as natural extensions of her identity rather than deliberate acts of care and effort, leading to a lack of appreciation and acknowledgement. This invisibility highlights a societal gap in recognizing the labor that sustains families and communities. Emotional labor, caregiving, and the day-to-day work of maintaining relationships are often overlooked or dismissed as insignificant. Yet these efforts are foundational to the well-being of others. The unloved woman's experience forces us to ask why these forms of labor, performed predominantly by women, are undervalued. It reflects a cultural bias that prioritizes visible achievements and economic productivity over the quieter, less tangible work of nurturing and supporting others. Her plight also reveals a failure of empathy within society. The unloved woman gives freely of her time and energy, yet she is met with indifference or even entitlement from those she helps. This lack of reciprocity is not just a personal failing on the part of individuals, but a broader societal issue. Empathy is often unevenly distributed, extended more readily to those who command attention or fit conventional ideas of success and worthiness. The unloved woman, who works quietly behind the scenes, is overlooked because society has not been conditioned to see her. The societal gaps revealed by the unloved woman extend beyond individual relationships to systemic inequalities. Women, particularly those in caregiving roles, are disproportionately affected by economic disparities, workplace discrimination, and limited opportunities for personal growth. The unloved woman, who sacrifices so much for others, often finds herself with little support when she needs it most. Her experience is a reminder of the structural barriers that prevent individuals, especially women, from receiving the love, respect, and opportunities they deserve. The unloved woman also reflects a gap in how society values resilience and quiet strength. Her ability to endure neglect and continue giving is extraordinary, yet it is rarely celebrated. Society tends to glorify overt displays of strength achievements, accolades, and visible success, while overlooking the quieter, internal forms of resilience that sustain individuals through adversity. The unloved woman's strength is a profound testament to her character, yet it remains largely unacknowledged because it does not conform to conventional narratives of triumph. Her story invites us to question the narratives we uphold about who deserves love and recognition. It challenges the idea that worthiness is tied to external markers of success or conformity to societal expectations. The unloved woman's value lies not in her ability to fit these molds, but in her inherent humanity and the quiet contribution she makes to the lives of others. Her experience forces us to confront the biases and blind spots that shape our perceptions of worth and to consider how we can create a more inclusive and empathetic society. The weight she carries is immense, often invisible to the outside world, yet profoundly heavy. It is the accumulation of expectations, responsibilities, sacrifices, and emotional burdens that she shoulders daily. The unloved woman navigates life with a strength born not out of choice but necessity, her resilience forged in the fires of neglect and unreciprocated care. Her burden is not only physical but emotional and psychological, layered with the complexities of her relationships and the role she plays within them. From the moment she wakes, the weight begins to press on her shoulders. She is often the backbone of her family, the steady presence that keeps everything from falling apart. Whether she is a mother, a partner, a caregiver, or all these things at once, her responsibilities are endless. She ensures that others have what they need, often at the expense of her own well-being. The meals she prepares, the schedule she maintains, the quiet sacrifices she makes to keep the household running, all these are part of the burden she carries. Yet these contributions are frequently taken for granted, seen as her duty rather than a testament to her dedication. This physical labor is compounded by the emotional weight she bears. The unloved woman often serves as the emotional anchor for those around her. She listens, consoles, and supports, absorbing the pain and frustrations of others while rarely having someone to turn to for her own struggles. She carries the unspoken expectations of being strong, reliable, and selfless, a role society often imposes on women without acknowledging the toll it takes. Her capacity to endure is seen as a given, leaving her with little space to express vulnerability or seek solace. Her emotional burden is further amplified by the lack of reciprocity she experiences. The love and care she gives are not always returned, leaving her to grapple with feelings of invisibility and unworthiness. She invests deeply in her relationships, pouring her energy into nurturing and supporting others, only to find herself standing alone when she needs that same care. This imbalance creates a profound loneliness, a sense that her efforts are unrecognized and unvalued. Yet, even in the face of this, she continues to give, driven by an innate sense of responsibility and love that defies her circumstances. The psychological toll of the weight she carries cannot be understated. The unloved woman often internalizes the neglect and lack of appreciation she experiences, questioning her worth and wondering if she is somehow to blame for the absence of love in her life. This self-doubt can be crippling, eroding her confidence and sense of self. She may feel trapped in a cycle of giving and sacrificing, unable to break free for fear of disappointing others or disrupting the delicate balance she has worked so hard to maintain. The societal expectations placed on women further compound her burden. The unloved woman is often expected to excel in multiple roles: caretaker, provider, and emotional support system without faltering. These expectations are rarely accompanied by adequate support or recognition, leaving her to navigate these challenges alone. The weight of these roles is not just a personal struggle, but a reflection of systemic issues that undervalue the contributions of women, particularly those who work tirelessly behind the scenes. Despite the enormity of what she carries, the unloved woman's strength is undeniable. She finds ways to endure, to keep moving forward even when the load feels unbearable. Her resilience is remarkable, though it often comes at great personal cost. The stress and strain of her responsibilities can manifest in physical and mental health issues, yet she continues to prioritize the needs of others over her own. Her ability to persevere is both inspiring and heartbreaking, a testament to her character and a stark reminder of the inequity she faces. What makes the weight she carries even more poignant is the absence of acknowledgement or appreciation. The world benefits from her efforts, yet rarely pauses to thank her. Her sacrifices are often invisible, her struggles unnoticed. She carries the weight not for recognition, but because she understands its importance. She knows that without her, the foundation she has built would crumble, leaving those she loves vulnerable. This sense of duty keeps her going, even when the burden feels insurmountable. The unloved woman's journey is a powerful reminder of the unseen struggles many endure. Her strength, though remarkable, should not be taken for granted or romanticized. The weight she carries is not a testament to her capacity to endure suffering, but a reflection of a world that too often allows one person to bear more than their fair share. To understand her story is to see the need for change, for a society that recognizes and alleviates the burdens placed on those who give so much of themselves. The myth of weakness surrounding the unloved woman is one of the most persistent and damaging misconceptions. Society often views her through a lens of pity or condescension, assuming that her lack of love or recognition stems from some personal failing. Yet, nothing could be further from the truth. The unloved woman is far from weak. In fact, her strength is extraordinary, shaped by the trials she endures and the resilience she builds in the face of adversity. The myth of her weakness arises not from reality, but from a lack of understanding and a tendency to undervalue the quieter, more subtle forms of strength. Her journey is one of enduring the kind of loneliness and neglect that might break others. To be unloved or to feel unloved is to carry an emotional burden that many would find unbearable. Yet she persists, moving forward with grace and determination despite the lack of validation or support. It takes an immense amount of inner fortitude to continue to give of oneself, to care, to nurture, to build without the comfort of being seen or appreciated. Weakness would compel her to retreat, to give up, to harden her heart against the world. Instead, she chooses to keep going, to find strength in her ability to persevere, even when love and acknowledgement are withheld. The myth of her weakness also fails to recognize the emotional intelligence required to navigate a life that lacks reciprocity. The unloved woman often becomes a master of self-reflection, processing her feelings and making peace with her circumstances in ways that others may never need to. She learns to find value within herself, to cultivate self-love and self-respect in a world that may not readily offer them. This ability to generate strength and resilience from within is not a sign of weakness, but of profound inner strength and emotional maturity. Her perceived weakness often stems from the vulnerability she exhibits. Vulnerability in the eyes of many is mistakenly equated with fragility or frailty. Yet the unloved woman's vulnerability is a source of power. It takes courage to remain open, to continue loving and giving despite the risk of being hurt or overlooked. Her willingness to embrace her emotions, to acknowledge her pain without letting it define her, is a testament to her strength. She does not shy away from her humanity, even when it makes her vulnerable to judgment or rejection. Society's misunderstanding of the unloved woman also stems from its tendency to equate strength with dominance or outward success. The strength of the unloved woman does not fit these traditional molds. She does not seek to assert her power over others or to prove her worth through external achievements. Her strength lies in her ability to endure, to adapt, and to find meaning in her struggles. It is a quieter, more understated strength, but it is no less real or significant. The world's failure to recognize this strength speaks more to its own limitations than to hers. The unloved woman's ability to continue giving in the absence of love is another powerful testament to her strength. Many would close themselves off, becoming bitter or resentful in the face of neglect. Yet she chooses a different path, one that requires immense bravery and selflessness. She understands that love is not just something one receives, but something one creates and shares. Her capacity to love others, even when that love is not returned, reflects a resilience that few possess. Her strength also lies in her capacity for hope. To be unloved is to live with a constant reminder of life's imperfections, yet the unloved woman refuses to succumb to despair. She finds ways to hope for a better future, to believe in her own worth, even when the world fails to affirm it. This hope fuels her determination to keep going, to seek out moments of joy and connection despite the challenges she faces. It is a strength that comes not from denying her struggles, but from embracing them as part of her journey. The myth of her weakness is further dismantled by her ability to inspire others. While society may overlook her, those who truly see her recognize the depth of her strength and resilience. Her ability to endure, to give, and to hope in the face of adversity is a source of quiet inspiration for those around her. She challenges the conventional narratives of strength and success, showing that true power lies not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with courage and grace. The unloved woman's strength is not loud or flashy. It does not demand attention or seek validation. It is a steady, unyielding force, one that sustains her through life's challenges and enables her to continue giving and caring despite the odds. The myth of her weakness is a reflection of society's failure to recognize this kind of strength, to see the value in the quieter, more understated forms of resilience. Her story challenges us to rethink our definitions of strength and to honor the courage it takes to persist in the face of adversity. The ripple effect of neglect is profound, reaching far beyond the individual who experiences it. When a woman is unloved or overlooked, the consequences extend into her relationships, her community, and even the broader society. Neglect, whether emotional, physical, or systemic, is not a singular event, but a pattern that creates waves of impact, shaping the lives of those it touches and perpetuating cycles of harm. The unloved woman's experience is a microcosm of this phenomenon, revealing the intricate and far-reaching consequences of failing to value and support individuals. At its core, neglect erodes self-worth. The unloved woman may internalize the lack of care and attention she receives, interpreting it as a reflection of her own inadequacy. This self-doubt can become a persistent undercurrent in her life, influencing her decisions, her relationships, and her sense of identity. Over time, the absence of love and validation may lead her to question her value, leaving her vulnerable to further mistreatment or exploitation. This internal struggle is not just an individual battle, but a symptom of a society that often fails to affirm the worth of those who do not fit its idealized molds. The ripple effect begins to expand as the unloved woman navigates her relationships. Her experience of neglect may make it difficult for her to establish healthy connections as she struggles to trust others or to believe she deserves love and respect. She may unconsciously replicate patterns of neglect, either by tolerating unhealthy dynamics or by withdrawing from relationships altogether. This cycle can extend to her role as a caregiver or parent, where the emotional toll of neglect may affect her ability to provide the support and presence her children need. While many women work tirelessly to break this cycle, the impact of neglect often requires immense effort to overcome. On a societal level, the ripple effect of neglect perpetuates cycles of inequality and injustice. The systemic undervaluing of women, particularly those who are marginalized or unloved, reinforces patterns of neglect that are deeply ingrained in cultural and institutional frameworks. When women are not provided with the support, resources, and recognition they need, the effects are felt across generations. Children raised in environments where neglect is prevalent may carry those experiences into their own lives, perpetuating cycles of harm and disadvantage. Society as a whole bears the cost of neglect as it loses the potential and contributions of individuals who are not given the opportunity to thrive. Despite these challenges, the unloved woman often finds ways to counteract the ripple effect of neglect. Her resilience and determination become sources of strength, enabling her to create positive change even in the face of adversity. She may channel her experiences into advocacy, using her voice to challenge the systems and norms that perpetuate neglect. By sharing her story and standing up for herself and others, she disrupts the cycles of invisibility and undervaluation that have shaped her life. Her efforts to break free from the ripple effect inspire others to do the same, creating waves of change that extend far beyond her individual experience. The ripple effect of neglect is a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of human experiences. The way we treat one person has consequences that extend far beyond them, shaping the lives of those around them and influencing the fabric of society. Recognizing and addressing neglect is not just about supporting individuals, but about creating a culture that values and affirms everyone's worth. The unloved woman's story is a call to action, urging us to see the invisible, to value the indispensable, and to break the cycles of neglect that hold us all back. Breaking the chains is a powerful metaphor for the journey of liberation that the unloved woman embarks upon when she decides to free herself from the emotional, psychological, and societal constraints that have held her captive. These chains are often invisible but are no less real, forged by years of neglect, rejection, and undervaluation. Society may have conditioned her to believe that her worth is defined by how much she sacrifices for others, by how much she gives without asking for anything in return. These chains may be the expectations placed upon her, the roles that others insist she must play, or the relentless cycles of self-doubt that have been instilled in her. Breaking free from these chains is not an overnight process. It is a long, painful, and courageous journey, one that demands her to reclaim her identity, value, and sense of agency. The first step in breaking the chains is the realization that they exist. For many unloved women, the weight of these invisible chains is so ingrained in their daily lives that they may not even recognize how much they are limiting themselves. The societal expectation for women to be selfless, to always put others first, to nurture without asking for anything in return, often becomes a cage that stifles their sense of self. Over time, this neglect, whether it comes from partners, family, friends, or the world at large, leaves them feeling small, insignificant, and unworthy. The pain of being unloved manifests in self-limiting beliefs, where the woman begins to question her value, believing that she is undeserving of happiness or love. To break the chain, she must first confront the reality of her emotional imprisonment and acknowledge the damage that neglect has caused. Once this recognition occurs, the unloved woman must embark on the difficult task of reawakening her sense of self-worth. This step is crucial as the chains of neglect are often rooted in deep feelings of inadequacy. The unloved woman has been conditioned to seek validation from external sources, whether from the approval of others or from acts of service that go unnoticed. To break free, she must learn to validate herself, to find worth in her own eyes, regardless of how others see her. This is a process of self-empowerment, realizing that her value is not contingent on how much she gives, how much she sacrifices, or how much she suffers for others. Her worth lies in her very existence, in the unique person she is, with her strengths, flaws, dreams, and desires. The journey of breaking the chains also involves setting boundaries. For years, the unloved woman may have allowed herself to be overburdened by the demands and expectations of others, often at the cost of her own well-being. The chains of neglect are reinforced by a lack of boundaries, where she continuously sacrifices her needs in favor of others. Learning to set healthy boundaries is an essential part of the liberation process. It requires courage to say no, to prioritize one's own needs, and to stop accepting treatment that diminishes her sense of self. Boundaries are not walls, but lines of protection that allow the unloved woman to protect her energy, her mental health, and her sense of dignity. By asserting her boundaries, she takes back control over her life and begins to release herself from the chains that have held her in emotional captivity. Breaking the chains is a transformative journey, one that requires courage, patience, and immense inner strength. It is a journey towards self-empowerment, self-love, and self-acceptance. While the chains of neglect may have shaped the unloved woman's past, they do not define her future. Through each step of this journey, she reclaims her power and her worth, proving to herself that she is more than the neglect she has endured. She is a woman capable of love, happiness, and freedom from the chains that once bound her. Her legacy can also be found in the strength with which she carried the weight of her burdens. The unloved woman often bears the emotional load of others, yet rarely seeks recognition for the toll it takes on her. She is the silent warrior, enduring hardship with grace and dignity. She may not always be the loudest voice in the room, but her influence can be seen in the way others rise up because of her sacrifices. Whether she was a mother, a partner, a friend, or a mentor, her strength became the foundation upon which others could build their own strength. Her legacy is a testimony to the power of resilience in the face of adversity. Celebrating her legacy is not just about remembering the sacrifices she made or the hardships she endured, but also about acknowledging the quiet strength and dignity with which she navigated the world. The unloved woman, often invisible in society's eyes, is far from weak. She possesses a quiet power that is forged through resilience, patience, and the ability to overcome hardship without seeking credit. Her legacy is the indomitable spirit that refuses to be extinguished by the neglect or rejection she has faced. She is a living testament to the power of self-reliance and inner strength, traits that are passed on in the way others are inspired to live their own lives. This legacy is also a call to recognize the worth of those who have been overlooked. When we celebrate her legacy, we recognize that the contributions of women who are often dismissed or undervalued are just as important, if not more so, than the more visible, celebrated achievements. These women may not have had the opportunity to shine in the ways that others have, but their legacy speaks volumes about the power of quiet contributions. Her ability to make a difference without seeking applause is a form of grace that should be celebrated. The lessons she imparts about love, sacrifice, and perseverance become a beacon for others, guiding them to live their own lives with the same strength, grace, and compassion.